Here are some design features of the double-breasted jacket. The double-breasted jacket has a wide extension to accommodate two rows of button. The, the front extension should be equal to at least three times the diameter of the button to be used. If your button side is, for instance, 3/4 inch, so you times it times three, it will be giving you 2.5, 2 1/4 inches. So the minimum you should be making use of is 2 1/4 inches for the extension. So that's the major difference between the double-breasted pocket and the double-breasted jacket and the basic jacket. As well, when designing the double-breasted pocket, you make sure that the break point should be established before the row line is drawn. Then the excess should be transferred to the center front to relax the opening at the neck. That is what we are saying is that at the shoulder line, you extend it by 1 inches so that it will serve as collar stand. If not, your design is going to be looking awkward. The measurement needed are your vertical measurements, that's your shoulder to chest, your shoulder to bust, your shoulder to your waist, from your shoulder to your hip, from the shoulder to the hem, that is the jacket's length. As well, you need the horizontal measurement, which are as follows: the shoulder length plus 1 inch is, the bust circumference plus 5 inches is, the waist circumference plus 5 inches is, the hip circumference plus 5 inches is, the bust span, and the arm's length. We are going to start with the back pattern because we are going to use the back neckline for the construction of the collar. Firstly, we are going to draw a vertical line at the edge of the paper or the fabric, which represents the center back line. Insert the vertical measurement at the center back line and extend the line rightward, starting from the shoulder line, then from the shoulder line. Next is your hemline, which represents the jacket's length. In this particular one, our hemline is 30 inches away from the shoulder line. So we are going to mark out the hemline and draw the horizontal line towards it. Next, we mark our chest line, which is about 8 inches away from the shoulder line. The next is our waistline, which is about 17 inches from the shoulder line. And the lastly is the hip line, which is 25 inches from the waist line, from the shoulder line. Since we're not going to be making use of the bust line, because what we initially draw was the bust line, we are going to be calculating the chest line, which is the actual bust divided by 4. That is going to give us 8 inches or 9 inches. So we are going to draw the chest line and we label it out. So this is your vertical measurements. Now we are going to be placing all the horizontal measurement on it. On the shoulder line, mark out the neck width and the shoulder length, which are 3 inches and 9 inches respectively. The 9 inches is half of the shoulder measurement plus 1 inch is. On the chest line, mark out 9 inches as well. Then connect the two 9 inches, that's from the chest line to the shoulder line together using your ruler. This line is called the armhole line. On the armhole line, move down by 1 inches and connect to the neck width, which is 3 inches from the center back line. This represents your shoulder slope. The shoulder, as you know, is usually slanted. So this is the slantness of the shoulder. Next is our back neck depth. For the back neck depth, what we are going to do, we are going to measure 1.5 inches from the center back line and mark. Draw a perpendicular line from the marking and go to the 3-inch marking at the shoulder line and draw a perpendicular line downward. Then connect using your French curve or freehand as you see me doing. On the chest line, insert the bust measurement. In this place, we have bust of 36 plus 5 inches, we make it 42. Divide by 4, making it 10.5. So I added 0.5 inch, making it 11. Mark it out, then use your French curve to connect from the shoulder line to the chest line, like you've seen me doing. Note that the back armhole is usually not as deep as the front armhole curve. Insert the waist measurement on the waistline by dividing the waist by 4. We have the waist measurement of 30. We added 5 to each, making it 35. Divide by 4, we get roughly 9 inches. Then we added 1 for it as the dart spacing, making it 10 inches. We mark it out. So on your hip line, inside the hip measurement, which is the hip divided by 4, don't forget to add your ease. So also do the same thing. The measurement you use on your hip line, that's what you are going to use on your hemline. Now connect the markings from the hip, from the hemline up to the chest line. For that placement, what you are going to do is get the bust span measurement divided by 2. Our bust span is 8. We divide by 2 is 4. We now got 4 inches. So what we are going to do is we'll go to the chest line and measure 4 inches away from the center back line. Do the same thing on the waistline and the hip line to the hemline. Then connect using your ruler. So we call this line the dart line. Now go to your armhole curve. What you are going to do at the armhole curve is that you are going to use your tape rule to measure the length of the armhole. So what if you've measured the length? Then, if you've measured the length, what now next you do is you measure the length, and after measuring the length, you get the midpoint. After you get the midpoint, go down by 1 inch from the midpoint. Here we got, if you go down by 1 inch mark, then connect to that to the tip of the dart line at the chest line using your ruler. So if you've connected it like this, what you are going to do is that you are going to soften it so that it will not have a sharp end by reducing 3/4 inch from both sides, from the top and from the bottom, like what I'm doing. Then you now make a curve. So you are going to have a curvy place so that it will not be sharp at that point. Now, so these are your dart line. So next, on the waistline, you measure and mark 0.5 inch on both sides of the dart line. Now connect these two marking to the tip of the dart line at the chest line and at the hip line respectively using your ruler. List before I forget, what you should do is that you come up by 2 inches at the hip line. So you're not going to mark exactly at 2 inches. You come up by 2 inch at the hip line. You come up by 2 inches, then you mark. So that's the point you are going to connect with. So if you've gotten out that spacing, you move to the next stage, which is you are almost done with your pattern. But the next thing is that you somehow have to style it. So for styling it, we are going to be reducing some part of it. So for proper fitting, we are going to be shaping it from the back pattern. From the center back line, we draw a line. We draw a 1 inch line inward from the center back line. If we've drawn this 1 inch line from the chest line to the hip line, so we're going to make a curve, a slight S curve from the chest line to the waistline. So look at how I'm making it. So that curve, it extends from the chest line to the waistline. Then it now goes straight down to the hemline. So this part, you are going to cut it out. Then for styling also, you are going to come to the sideline and reduce it and go up by 1/2 inch. Go to the hemline and get the midpoint. Then connect this 1 inch reduction that you did at the sideline. Connect it together. So this is to the center of the hemline. So this is what you are going to do, and this part you are going to be cutting it out. So all the old part that they'll be cutting it out, I'm shading it away. So this part, they are going to be cutting it out for styling. Then this is your back pattern. We're done with the back pattern. Now we go to the front. Insert all of the vertical measurements as like you did in the back pattern. You'll make sure that the center front line is 4 inches away from the edge of, at least 4 inches away from the edge of the paper. Like the back pattern, mark 3 inches for the neck, for the front neck width, and as well 9 inches, which is half of the shoulder length plus 1 inches. Also, what you are going to do is mark same 9 inches on the chest line, then connect this 9 inches marking with your ruler. If you've connected it, the next thing we're going to be doing is get our shoulder slope, which we are going to subtract 1 from this armhole line. This particular, we subtract 1 inch and connect it to the neck width, which is 3 inches away from the center front line. If we've done this, for the front neck depth, we are going to be dividing the bust by 12. We have the bust of 36, the actual bust by 36. We divide it by 12, we get 3. So hence 3 is going to be the neck depth. We now mark it from the center front line. You square it at that 3 at that neck depth, and also go to the neck width and draw a perpendicular line downward. And then you bring out the curve like what you see me doing. But for those of you that have a French curve, you can just simply make use of your French curve. Next, we shall be doing is the armhole curve. For the armhole, what we are going to do is that we go to the chest line and put in the bust measurement. We are going to be adding 5 inches for ease to the original bust. Our original bust we are using here is 36. So when we added 5 inches, it makes it 42. We divide it by 4, we get 10.5 inches. We add 0.5 for ease. So we are going to mark 11 inches here. So mark the midpoint of the armhole line, then move inward by 3/4 inch and mark. So for now, we are going to get our armhole curve by connecting 3 dots from the shoulder slope to that 3/4 inch mark, 3/4 inch mark that you made, then to the 11-inch that you measured at the chest line. So you connect this line. You can make use of your French curve. For me, I don't have a French curve, so I'm making use of my free hands. Next, you go to the waist line and insert the waist measurement. Divide the waist by 4. Our waist is the actual waist is 30, so we divide it by we add 5 inches to it and divide by 4. Then we also add 1 inch. We also add 1 inch for that spacing, which make it 10. We mark. Then we'll go to our waistline, the hip line rather, and insert our hip measurement. Divide the hip measurement, and also remember to put your ease. Then the same marking that you have on your hip line, that's what you are going to use on your hemline. Then connect all these markings from the hemline up to the chest line using your ruler or your curve rule, depending on what is at your disposal. So for that, what we are going to be doing next is to get your bust measurement, our bust span measurement. Our bust span measurements was 8 inches. So we divide it by 2, we get 4. So we are going to be marking 4 inches from the center back line in all of the vertical lines. So we are going to be starting from the bust line. So our bust, we mark 4 inches from the bust line away from the center front line. Also go to the waist line, mark the same 4 inches. Go to the hip line, mark the same 4 inches. Then you use your ruler and connect all this line marking from the bust line, connect it down to the hemline. So for you not to have a sharp point at the bust point, what you are going to do is that you are going to come down on this particular line that you just made is called the dart line. So on this particular dart line, you are going to be coming down by 3/4 inch. You have a new bust point. You mark it as your new bust point. Then you go to the hip line as well. Go up and mark the marking there about 1 inches away from the original hip line. Then at the side of the dart line, you're going to be matching 0.5 inch, which is the dart leg. You connect to the new dart bust point, which is 3/4 inch away from the original bust point. Then connect the other leg as well. Then also you are going to be doing the same thing like what you did in the upper part. You are going to do it towards the hips from that's your dart spacing. So this is what you are going to be doing. So when you're done with this, so you go to the other part of it, which is the mid. You are going to find the length of the armhole curve. If you've gotten the length of the armhole curve, find the midpoint. When you find the midpoint, you go down by 1 inch. So mark. So from this one particular 1 inch, you are going to be connecting to the that line that you initially made. So when you connect a straight line to it, then as well you are going to find you are not going to stop at the burst point so that you will not have a sharp edge. You also have what you are going to do is that you are going to be coming up by 3/4 inch. So when you come up by 3/4 inch to soften that point so that it will not be very sharp, so it will be softened. So you come down, then you make a slight curve on it, making use of your either your curve rule or your freehand, depending on what is at your disposal. So we start the construction of the double-breasted probably by making the extension. The extension is 2 1/4 inch away. We're going to draw a parallel line from the center front line, which is 2 1/4 inch away from the center front line. So when we draw this line, this is going to serve as the extension. Next is that we are going to identify the break point. The break point is at the waistline, which is at 17. So that's going to be the break point. Then also we take care of where the break point is going to end, which is at 1 inch. We're going to go to the shoulder length, and extend it towards the center front line by 1 inch. Then connect it to the break point, which is at the shoulder, at the extended waistline. So that. As I initially explained, the extension can be more than it can be more than 2 1/4 inch. You can make it 3 or 3.5. It all depends on how you want it. Just make sure that it is enough to accommodate two buttons. This particular extension is what make it a double-breasted pocket. So for the construction of the lapel, at the actual front depth, what you are going to do is mark 2 inches away from the center front line, and measure and mark 2 inches away from the center front line, like what you see me doing. Then connect this 2 inch mark extension at the nape of the neck to the break point, the extended break point. So this serves as the collar. So what you are going to do is that the collar is not, most of the collar is not that straight. It's a bit curvy. So what you are going to do is that you make sure that you introduce that curve, either making use of your curve if you have one. But since I don't have one, so what I did here was to just improvise by forming a partial curve, getting the midpoint of this line. When I got the midpoint, I went out by 3/8 inch, and made a curve line. So that represents my curve. So I'm bringing it out. Initially, I'm making use of pencil so that I won't make mistake. So this is my lapel. So you can make the extension that we made, that is 2 inches. You can make it 2.5. You can make it 1.5. It all depends on your design and the desired output that you want. So we are done with the lapel of your double-breasted jacket. So the next step we are going to be doing is to get our collar. For we to get our collar, what we are going to do is that we are going to be reintroducing the back pattern. So when we bring in the back pattern, we are going to measure the neckline, the back neckline. We'll measure the length of the back neckline. When we measure the back neckline, we insert it in the front because we are going to be constructing the neckline on the front. We are going to be constructing the collar on the front pattern. So when we brought in the back pattern, we measured it and we get 4 inches. So that 4 inches, we are going to be putting it on the front in the collar. So this is how it is. So you go to the shoulder line. That the neck width now, you are going to be shifting it a bit by 3/4 inch. So by 3/4, by 3/8 inch. So you connect it, you readjust it to have a new neckline, look like what I did. So there are 4 inches that you measure at the back. You will bring it, you align it this way, then square it. I squared it. I'm not supposed to square it down, but I just squared it. So then find the midpoint of that 4 inches. Then at that point that you square, you're going to be coming backward. You're going to be coming backward like this so that the collar will relax. Come back by by half an inch. Then connect to the midpoint. Then blend. If you connect it to the midpoint, blend it to the neckline. So this serves as partly the back part of your collar. So for the collar width, what you're going to do, it all depends on the style. I'm going to be making use of 4 inches. So for that 4 inches, I'm squaring it by 4 inches. I marked, then connect it to the neck. But before then, we introduce the notch. The notch is going to be about 0.5 inches away from the lapel. So I connect, I marked it, and I connect from the nape of the neck down to towards, which I connect about 2 inches to 3 inches towards towards the nape of the neck, like what you see. Then I connect from that place to the uppermost part of the collar. So this is it. This is your collar. This is your collar. It all depends on how you want it. So look at it. What I did was at that nape of the neck, we measure 3 inches from that place. Always acknowledge that there's a notch in this particular one. So for this notch, we leave the space of a notch space of 0.5. The notch can be as wide as you want, and it can be as close as you want. So this is your lapel. This is your collar. So I'm going to bring it out with my my marker later. So what I did was that remember that at the side, we reduce at the sideline of the back pattern, we reduce 1 inch up. We move up by 1 inch and going to the midpoint of the hemline and marked. So we are going to be connecting this like what we did at the back pattern. Then all this part we are marking out, we are going to be cutting it out. Then as well as the dart that we are going to be cutting out. So this is it. So I came back and I used my markers to bring it out so that it will be very visible of what we just did. So this is your collar. And then for you to get the collar properly, this collar is on fold. So you are going to be expanding it. Then subsequent video, I shall be teaching you on how to make the suit properly, because this one is just the pattern. This is just how to sew the suit. This one is just pattern drafting. So thank you for watching my video. If there's any comment, please if there's any area that you don't get, kindly drop your question at the comment section. So thank you once more for reaching this time. Thank you. Support our channel, subscribe, like, and help us share the good message. Thank you very much.